Rolling both cameras. Hi.
Did you just say she was a good conversation?
She's a very good Confucianist. We don't have to do extra makeup and dress up and all to impress anybody. So, not couple, yeah, that's quite a few questions.
Singles not ready to mingle.
Satra pe khatra.
Start off. Everything is silent. Sorry. Tell someone action.
Action.
Commitment is hard.
Oh, hi, hello, Ruth and Jeremy. It's amazing to meet you guys today. I'm Arpu and I'm a 20-year-old. And
Growing up, I was surrounded by like just friends and people who everyone around had a boyfriend or had a girlfriend, and it was just like, why do you not have one? Like Valentine's Day, you don't have anything to give to anybody, and so that's how it started. It started with like, just because everybody has somebody, I need to have somebody, and so it was just, I became in a habit of always having somebody by my side. And then finally, before I found Jeremy, I think I had 16 boyfriends. You know, and what we don't realize is
I thought you said
that-
15, you said 16.
Oh my God. It's 16. Sweet 16. So
Satra pe khatra.
yeah, and what we don't realize is that when we're in these multiple relationships, we take on other people's problems. So if I had 16 relationships, I have 16 people's problems on me that finally I myself have to deal with alone, not the person I marry, not those are my problems I have to deal with it. And it's not only that, you also give away of yourself, you know, so you're not whole anymore. And I have this thing that I always say, that when we're born with, you know, like this jewelry box that's filled with jewels, that's like things you're supposed to present to the person that you marry. You know, your first kiss, first time you hold someone's hand, first time you're with someone. And many times when we finally come to that place of where we're married and I want to go give this box of jewels to the person that I've finally decided to spend the rest of my life with, we open the box and there's nothing inside. You know, and so that's what happens is like, you don't only take on other people's problems, but you lose yourself in that, in the process. Yeah. I think that is something so important for us to just keep in mind, that we are not losing ourselves in the process and we're not taking on other people's problems. Yeah. You know, because we will take that into our marriage. Less of ourselves and more of others.
Yeah, and I think I remember when I first had that feeling of, okay, this is somebody I want to get committed to. And I knew her guardian. So basically, I slipped her a letter and I said, hey, I won't be able to communicate with you because I have to do something which is very important for me to do before I take this on. And I remember going to her guardian, going to also the leadership in our college that we were kind of studying at, because there were rules in the college also that you couldn't get into a relationship without others knowing and stuff like that. So I wanted to honor that, right? Yeah. So I went to her guardian. She didn't know where I was. She was a little mad at me because she was like,
so upset.
where are you? What are you doing?
I received like this funny letter from him where he says like, hey, I think our friendship could be more than what it is. But before it does become anything, there are things that I need to do. And this was something completely like alien to me. Like nobody had, but what he was doing is treating me with respect. Yeah. But I had never been treated with that amount of respect. So I didn't even recognize it. I didn't even understand it.
Yeah. And so I sat with her guardian, and her guardian thankfully was a very wise person. He kind of said, okay, Jeremy, this is where you are at now. You're studying. She's going to graduate in a year. You're going to take another year.
Yeah.
And then you're going to basically, get a job and, start working and, get engaged at this year, 2009. And then hopefully at 2010, you can get married. And that's exactly kind of what happened.
Wow.
Is like, hey, I had somebody along the journey who kind of said, hey, and so this is what like very few people know, is that her guardian, when this was all happening and her dad eventually came to know 2 years down, he had a conversation with her guardian. Obviously, because her dad and her guardian are best friends. So then when he talked about, hey, who's this guy? Like, I know this guy, but who, like, they were just generally talking. Then her guardian kind of stood up for me because he said, hey, he came to me, he spoke to me about it. And so that also added a lot of weight to her parents' blessing, because there was honor and respect in that relationship.
Wow.
And I think that is so key for everyone to have, is, to have that.
So great.
Someone who can lead the way for you.
That's amazing. But was it hard to go and talk? Like, did you hesitate in the beginning, or was it like, okay, I need to go do this?
Yeah, I think for me, everything we do takes work. Everything we do. If we want success in anything, there's no shortcuts. Like, hey, there's no shortcuts to a better sex life. It's statistically proven that married people have the best sex life.
Come on.
Okay, so and we don't have to do extra makeup and dress up and all to impress anybody. So no, but coming to the point is like, everything that is beautiful takes hard work.
Yeah.
And so, I knew that there's things that are non-negotiable in any relationship. And for me, that was honor, that was wise counsel, that was going through the proper channels. So tomorrow the college cannot say I broke any rules. Her parents can't say I broke any rules. So there is rules for a reason. That's why we love cricket, we love football, we love all these games, because there are rules. And so if we tend to break those rules, we won't enjoy the game.
To recognize commitment, it takes time. You will see that it's someone, a committed person is faithful in everything they do. They're always on time. They give importance to what needs to be given importance to. They value other people, and they see the value of other people around them. And so there are things that will take time. And so that's why it's important not to like just rush into things, and then after some time be like, man, this was like the biggest mistake I've ever made.
Yeah, and I think like how people respond to responsibility is important. Like, sometimes we expect people to be responsible without giving them any responsibility. And so I want to see how this person is in every situation. And if I am not hanging out with them, if I'm hanging out alone with them, I will never know who they are.
Got it.
Okay? But if I am in a community environment, I know how they respond to pressure. I know how they respond to a rickshawala. I know how they treat other people. One of the core values in our marriage is like, hey, be nice to each other.
Be nice.
Talk nicely. Like, what you're saying, it might be very loud, but it carries no weight. What you're saying might be like, it's like this. When you press an orange, what do you get? You get orange juice.
Yeah.
When you press a person, what comes out of his mouth is what is inside. So if there is bad stuff inside, bad stuff is going to come out. And so you want to be in the best place to find anyone is in a community setting. Because it's in that community setting, they know you. If you can't get along with a difficult person, each of us are going to be difficult in our own way in our relationship, in our marriage. So if you're not, you say, oh, I don't like this one, is like that. I don't like that one because it's like that. I don't like this. So you have more, I always say, have more I cans more than your I can'ts. Your I cans need to be more than your I can't. So you know that, hey, this person, hey, he or she gets along with people. They have few limitations. I'm not talking about like the perfect person, but I know that, like I said, it's not perfection, it's progress. I know this person wants to learn, he wants to grow, he wants to be a better person, she wants to be a better person. And I think when you bring two people together, they will get to a better place if they work at it together.
But like you said, you had few things like a list. Is it necessary to have like your expectations in place
Oh,
though?
100%. 100%.
Here's how I look at it. Like, if I understand who I am and the value I carry, I need to know what will add value to the things that I want to fulfill for my life. And so I think it's important to know what you want. If you don't know what you want, you will go for anything. So it's important to put down, I love lists. That's just who I am. I love making lists. I have a lot of different kinds of list making notebooks for my kids, for my house, for everything. But for me, it was important for me to put down, hey, this is what I want. Right? Because if I don't put that down, I'm going to be going everywhere. Right? Like a ship without a rudder cannot go anywhere, right? So I forget what the saying is. Something.
We'll get back to that. Wow, that's amazing. Now you found your list.
I did.
And it's so amazing how y'all both came together like through a college, and like there are a lot of college students who get along in college and end up getting married. I've heard stories. But now let's say like I like a person, okay, and the list is kind of complete, but that person doesn't want to like me back.
Correct.
How do I handle that? And how do I find out a person who really wants to commit to me? You know, how do I find the right person for me?
Yeah, I think when you're in a, like I said, bring it back to a community setting. Okay. I always tell people, don't make decisions in isolation. You know, make sure you have, if it's your parents, if it's a mentor, if it's somebody you look up to, that you're doing things together. And they add a lot of value. When your friend, when you have friends, good friends, you know, they'll say, hey, listen, you know, your expectations are too high. You know, you should know that everyone is human. You know, you won't get like this perfect guy jumping out of a GQ magazine, you know. So everyone is a work in progress. And so you have people that love you, that think alike, and you're in a space of community, you're meeting people, and you are going to be able to, you have more chances of finding somebody in a place of a community rather than somebody randomly walking on a road. You know. And so when you're in that space, you are out there as well. So you are also going to get people who are going to come and ask you, hey, you know, can we go out for a coffee, or can we go out on a date, or something like that. And so you're putting yourself out there. And I think what's happening nowadays is we don't want to meet anybody, and then we say we've not found anybody. But you're not out there. You're not there. You know, you're not interacting with people. You're not laughing with people. You're not going out for a movie with people. You're not enjoying life with people. So they don't know who you really are. And I think that is a big drawback to why people are not getting to meet the right person, is because they are not in the right room. You know, if you're not in the right room, you are never going to meet the right person. So are you in the right room?
That's a question for the audience.
Yes.
Crazy. Wow, that's so good.
Yeah, and I think it's not like you said, it's important who you marry, but it's also very important who you are when you get married. You need to be secure and single before you can end up happily married. You know, because most of the time, most problems in marriages are because of an individual's insecurities. And insecurities stem from not understanding who you are, what your value is, what you are created to be, you know. And there's this book in the Bible called the Book of Psalms. And there's a verse in there that says that you are fearfully and wonderfully created. You know, that means that I was fearfully created, like in the sense of, you know, when a bomb squad is disarming a bomb, they're very carefully, very fearfully, not they're not scared of it, but they're fearfully, very carefully disarming it. That's the precision that you were created with. You know, and then there was wonder added to it. That means, what is a wonder? Wonder is something that is nowhere else. You know, and each of us carry that inside of us, like your emotions, your sexuality, your mental health, your body, your physical body. It's all carries value. It all carries importance. And once we understand that value, we will automatically secure it. And then when we are secure, when we can be that perfect person someone is searching for. We can be that individual who someone is looking for to get married to.
See, the thing is, if you know who you are, you immediately, there is an attractiveness that you carry. So I remember Ruth's dad, he said that, you know, he had this amazing Alsatian dog, like this big guy, you know, this massive Alsatian dog. And he used to take it for a walk, you know. And he said, you know, I used to not take it for a walk. The dog used to take me for a walk. That's how big and powerful it was. But he was very upset one day, you know, after taking this dog out for a week. He came to his dad and says, hey, this is a useless dog. Because all these other street dogs are barking at it and it does nothing. You know, and he said his dad told him something that changed his life, perspective of life. He said, you know, this dog knows who he is. And so he's secure in who he is. He knows he's an Alsatian. He knows what breed he is. He knows how powerful he is. He knows how big he is. And so when he walks with that confidence. He's not worried about what people are saying. He's not worried about what others are saying. He's not worried about what his friends are saying. There's no sort of peer pressure on who he is. And so I think, you know, when you are secure in who you are, you know what you are built for, you know what you are made for, you know what you love, and you know where you're going. You know, it adds a lot of weight and it brings a lot of attractiveness and charisma and confidence to you as a person.
Let's say I'm not able to commit to someone because I have my insecurities. How do I deal with that now?
See, only you can deal with your insecurities.
Yeah.
Only you know what makes you insecure. So if you know what makes you insecure, then you work on those and get somebody to help you. Because you will never be able to get over it alone. No amount of podcasts, no amount of YouTube videos, no amount of reels is going to help you get out of it. Because only people from the outside can look at you and say, hey, you've really worked on this. Or they will say, hey, you know, let's get into this situation so we actually know what it is, what is going to come out of it. You know, you are only going to see a lion if you enter the jungle. You know, you're not going to see a lion walking on, you know, in Bandra on Linking Road. You know, you're going to see it only if you you get into a situation which really exposes that area and say, okay, where do I stand in this area of my life?
Yeah, I think like insecurities is an I problem. You know, it's never going to be Jeremy's problem. If I have an insecurity, I have to deal with it. It's like with our kids, right? If we're teaching them something, we can talk to them, we can show them, we can help them practice. But at the end of the day, they have to put in the effort when they're learning to walk, when they're learning to skateboard, when they're learning to do all these things. It's going to take falling down. It's going to take getting hurt. It's going to take multiple tries. But when you finally come to a place, like I said earlier, we have insecurities because we don't know what our value is. That's why we have insecurities. But if we can understand, become self-aware, understand, hey, why am I always insecure about this one thing? What am I not understanding about myself? if I can learn to see value in myself in that area of my life, I will automatically be secure.
Wow. Do you have any stories of how you dealt with one of your insecurities?
Before I met Jeremy, I was a very insecure person. I had multiple relationships, probably because I was always looking for the answer in somebody else, or I was always trying to figure out myself. And I had to deal with my insecurities because if I realized today that if I hadn't done that, this would not have been what it is today. And the only way I did it was in community. Like what Jeremy said earlier, like I want to re-emphasize that how important community is, that we don't isolate. Your insecurities will isolate you.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to get out there, get into a community, be surrounded by people who love you, people who will go out of their way for you, people who want to understand you, people who see the value in you. And I would go every evening, I would go for walks with a friend of mine who is a counselor, and we would just talk. We would just talk. I would talk about things that are troubling me, things like my understanding of things and different things. Like I had gone through a lot of abuse as a child, sexual abuse as a child, which definitely messed with things in my mind. And it was when I understood my value, I was able to deal with many insecurities. But if I did not have friends, my family, if I did not have Jeremy, if I did not have people standing with me and helping me pull me out of that rut that I was in, I don't know if I would have been able to deal with my insecurities.
Yeah, for me, like growing up, I was so bad at memorizing in school. My mom would sit with me like for 7 hours in one question, Hindi question, and I would forget it in 7 seconds, you know? And so I grew up with that thing of I'm a failure because I could not focus. My mind in school would be on the football field. While like I used to take my snack because I never had snack dabba. I used to take my lunch, sit with all the boarders in school, finish all that for snack. So in lunchtime, I was to be on the field. And I remember like, failing, not, and that kind of played on my confidence and I could not communicate with clarity anything I wanted to do. And as I grew up as a teenager, that affected me. That really had the thing like all my friends are like they have so many friends, they have girlfriends, they have all of these things. And I don't know, like, what I'm good at. And I remember standing in the mirror one day and looking at myself. I was very, like, I'm like, why do I have such a big nose? And I was always complaining about my features. And then one day I was looking in the mirror and I was like, and I think for me, because I struggled with my relationship with God at the same time, and it was one of like the most pinnacle moments for me. And it was somebody kind of telling me, I know it was God trying to say, hey, if you do not love yourself, no one will be able to love you.
That's right.
So at that moment, that was like, it changed me because I said, this person is, like my wife said, fearfully and wonderfully made. And then what that made me do is also realize, okay, these are things I'm good at. I'm good at sports. So then I focused my attention on, okay, let me try and pursue this. And I remember like so much of my identity and my strength came from a season where I played sports for the college and I was able to excel so well. And that said, okay, I'm good at one thing, and I'm definitely want to pursue it. And so that really built me up to a place of wow, there is something great inside of me. And all of us, I believe, have something great inside of us because what you love to do is mostly what you're created to do. Because don't sometimes we focus so much on our weakness that our strengths are being neglected.
It's true.
If you like art, just pursue that because that's what's
strength, yeah.
put in your heart. If you love sports, pursue that. Don't worry about what the world is saying because for the world you will never be good enough. You need to be good enough for yourself. And so focus on that and you will definitely see change, not in just not in just who you are from inside, because who you are from inside changes who you are from outside. So confidence is comes not from your looks. Confidence comes from who you are
Yeah.
and what you think you can achieve and what you believe. And that faith and that belief comes from, I know I'm good at sports. I know I'm good at this and I'm going to excel in this. And that gives me the confidence and that changes my appearance.
It's difficult to maintain one relationship. It's a lot of hard work to maintain one healthy relationship. I don't know why you would want to double that or triple the trouble or triple the hard work. And honestly, like I said earlier, like being in multiple relationships, you're just taking on other people's problems. And you're not only doing that, but you're losing yourself in the bargain. Like you're giving off yourself so much in every area. You're giving emotionally, you're giving mentally, like you're giving physically of yourself, and you're slowly, slowly losing who you are. And it becomes so difficult then later on to find these parts of yourselves to then put yourself together. And that's why many of us struggle with finding our true identity, because we don't know who we are anymore. We've just lost ourselves in so many people. And so we are truly just of the understanding of like, hey, get committed, stay with that one person, work on it, don't give up. It will be hard, but don't give up, you know?
Yeah, and I think like if you go to a company, they always see your track history. You know, how many years were you in the previous company? And if they see people jumping from job to job, job to job, job to job, they know they will never be committed to that company.
Yeah.
So for me, I would rather hire somebody who's been committed for 5 to 10 years to a particular job than hire somebody who's been committed to 8 jobs in 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and so when you say you're committed, it takes some guts. You know, it takes real men and women to say, I'm going to date to marry you.
Come on.
I'm not dating to have a good feeling. I'm not dating so that eventually I can sleep with you and then move to the next person. I'm not dating so that I can get what I want. I'm dating so we can build something together that will outlast our lifetime.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, we are so selfish that we only see our lifetime. We don't see 5, 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
You know, today people invest in stocks, they invest in companies that have been there for generations. Like they know that, hey, if I invest in Apple, even though Apple CEO is dead and gone, Apple stock is growing.
Yeah.
You know, they will invest in certain companies like Coca-Cola, or they'll invest in certain things that it has been there for for generations and it's working.
Yeah.
And so we see when we build something together that is strong, when we build something together that is just two of us building for the future,
Correct.
like it is going to bring benefit not just to you, you are going to see benefits happening for multiple generations. And so the thing is, hey, how far do you see?
Wow.
You know, and how committed are you willing to be?
Because the future's coming no matter what you do. You can't stop the future from coming. So you better do right now so that you have a better future, you know?
True.
Yeah, I would say true love says yes to one person. You know, that is true love. When I can say no to everybody else and say yes, that is strength, that is power, that is authority, that is going to build something beautiful. Is when I can keep saying I love you to one person, is going to add a lot of value, not just to us.
Wow.
I would say it again, date to marry.
Yes.
This is not some 31 flavors of ice cream. You're not at Baskin Robbins, you know. It is a life-changing, life-transforming union. And it is a serious decision because you're going to be this person for the rest of your life.
So why don't I date a lot of people and then find out who I need to marry?
you can meet people in community, you will get to know them much better than when you meet them alone. Because when you meet them alone, they're just trying to show you your best picture. But when you are in a space where you are with friends, you are at work, you're at this place, and you can see all sides of them. You know, that's the pond you need to fish at. You know, that's where you need to go. Don't isolate, because as soon as you're isolating, you're not getting the full picture. You know, you're with friends, so you're able to, kind of see how they react, interact. And if you are seeing that this person is isolating, this person doesn't want to go out with your friends, doesn't want to do this, he doesn't want to do that, then those are red flags. That this person wants to always meet you alone. And the whole relationship is built on a phone call or on a WhatsApp. You've not seen them in community. You are walking on dangerous ground. And for me, it's especially because we were in college, I saw how she functioned, how she organized she was, how generous she was, and those things attracted me to her. you know
I think what is important is putting it down on paper. My dad always said, your mind can forget, but a piece of paper never forgets. In the sense that when we actually put it down, hey, we are committed. It's going to be difficult to get out of this. So it puts me in a place where, you know what, I'm going to have to work hard on this. I'm going to have to give it a second chance. I'm going to have to rethink this. But when I am in a relationship that is a live-in relationship where there's no commitment, right? I have nothing, like I can one day be full into it and the next day I can be like, hey, it's not working out and I'm gonna just take off. Right? And that's why there's so much of heartache. That's why there's so much of broken people, because we are so afraid to get committed. It's not about the institution of marriages. I feel like it's more about putting myself in a place where I am able to give my all to be able to stay with the person that I have decided to love for the rest of my life. And I think that is what is so important.
I think it's amazing how we sign papers for everything.
Yeah, contract.
Correct. No builder is going to say, this is your house. You have to sign, na? No, you can take this car. This is for you. It's like we sign for cars, we sign for house. Our job, the company says, no, you come from tomorrow. No. Boss, where's my offer letter? Like, what am I signing up for? And so the thing is that we want to sign all these papers, but we don't want to sign a marriage certificate. What it's saying is, I am going to be committed to you and nobody else. Every option goes out of the door. I can get committed to anyone, that's not an issue, but be committed to somebody, and it is in that commitment you are saying, in other words, you're saying that I love you, I'm going to be focused, I choose you, and tomorrow, if I get better offer letters, it's still going to be you. So I choose my wife every day. I choose to be in my organization every day. There are better organizations that can come and give me a better offer letter. But what about, hey, my company says, hey, man, even though you have better options, thank you for being committed to us. And those are the guys who actually grow, because they can see through the corridors of time where this organization is going, what it's going to do. And so I know that as I see the future, if I'm committed to my wife, my children, my future, my life, even the things that I buy, my home, my investments, we are going to have a continued effect in generations to come. So if you're not willing to sign a marriage certificate, don't sign anything. Nowadays, I feel like with all people getting into relationships so early in the age, it's very common for people to like break up and then get back together. I think we need to ask like the question, okay, what went wrong? Like, was it because that person was secretly liking somebody else? Was it a commitment issue? Then yes, definitely stay away. If it is because I like ice cream and she likes chocolate and all these small common things, we have to make our young people understand that that is not what marriage is based out of. You can be like young in a relationship, but if you do not have anyone speaking into it, they won't give you wisdom for the future. So I'm more concerned about, okay, why did you break up? Tell me why. And if you're not having anybody in your life to tell you, ask you the tough questions, you're not going to progress. So if suppose some even today, if suppose somebody says, I say I'm going to break up with my wife, okay, I'm done. Okay, why did you say that? There was one person who basically they were so annoyed because they got divorced. They went back to the root cause of that, and it was because that person used to always press the toothpaste in the middle and not from the top. So that was the reason that the fight started. But where did it end up? In divorce. What happened? Because actually, the toothpaste, from there, it went to this, it went to your parents, my parents, that. And because of that, they came to saying, I don't want to be with you anymore. So we live in a world where we have young people, we have teenagers that are getting into relationships, but they don't have anybody to father them, they don't have anybody to mother them, mentor them, and kind of help them along the journey. They have parents who are not, one parent is saying yes, one parent is saying no. And so, hey, listen, you have a long way to go. Build trust with your parents, and they will trust you with your choices.
I think if you're in a relationship or in a situation that is unhealthy, that is physically, mentally, emotionally abusive, you need to run. Just get up and run.
Change your
Because you need to move yourself out of that situation and go to a situation. And that's why we talk so much about community, because we believe community is a healthy place to be in. You get emotionally tied up to someone, it is difficult to tear yourself away from that. And so run to a community, run to friends, family, people who love you, because they will be there for you, and get yourself out of that situation. And so it depends now what type of situation you are in.
I think a lot of people also in relationships, they are in a relationship, but they expect marriage commitment. Hey, you're not married. Just because you're in a relationship with somebody, you don't have to be in that particular city. You don't have to be in that particular thing. If you are in a place where now your thing is to grow your career, your thing is to explore opportunities, see what is out there. Don't make a marriage commitment when you're just still dating. And the expectations are like, okay, he did this, he did that. Hey, you're just you're not married. So sexually keep yourself pure, you're not married. Make sure that you're doing things in community, you're not married. So you can go for a movie alone, but go with friends. You're not married. When you're married, you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to do things alone together. When you're dating, focus on learning, rather than leaning on somebody too much. Learn about them. So when you're in a relationship, I think, don't expect marriage commitments. Don't expect that this person should leave everything and come to you. This person should leave the city, leave all of this to come to you. Once you're married, yes. Once you're married, don't work remotely. Once you're married, work together, be together, go out for movies together. Don't wait for your friends. So do things together. There's time to do things together, but there's time to also grow. When we talk about relationships, there has to be a balance. And finding that right balance is so critical. And so balance will always be found in community. Balance will always be found in honor of our parents. Balance will always be found in having healthy conversations. So, we need to find a balance. For us in our relationship, I can speak from that perspective is when I told my dad, you know, I found somebody. What do you think? He didn't give me an answer. Okay. And for me, like, he was thinking about it, he was processing it, which I respect and I honor. But there was so much love and trust in the relationship which I had with my father, my parents. He trusted me, I trusted him, and there was honor in that. And when your parents bring somebody to you, don't say, I'll never go to get married, I'm not going to do this. Say, hear them out. You know, you are where you are because of your parents. You wouldn't have existed. You know, you wouldn't have had what you have. And I think if you come with a place of being grateful and having that honor and love for them, there's so much value getting added. So you're giving them a year so that when you bring somebody that you like, they will also give you a voice, like voice on the table. Okay, tell us why you like this person. So if you're not willing to hear your parents, don't expect them to hear you.
True. Wow, makes so much sense.
I think it's so important to honor your parents because many times we live in, or I think it's just human nature to be so selfish that we're always thinking about ourselves. But when we grow up, we tend to forget all the people that have worked hard to actually given us the push to be where we are today. And for parents, they love you. They brought you into this world. They've sacrificed so much for you. They've given everything they could so that you could have your best. I think it's so important that even when your parents say, hey, this is a really nice person, like Jeremy said, give them a year. Go meet the person, talk to them, talk about difficult things, talk about things that will make you all uncomfortable so that you know, okay, will this take me to where, you know, I see myself 10 years from now? And I think it's important to always respect and honor our parents and not be selfish.
You will never know unless you have conversation.
Yes.
So if you are not going to talk to somebody, maybe that's the perfect person for you that your parents have bought. Maybe that's the most irritating person you've ever met in your life. You know, but don't feel that just because your parents bought it that I'm not going to give them a year. And so, you know, also how we talk to our parents, like being positive and being affirming, like when they bring, okay, dad, I would love to meet him. Okay, be positive around them because that builds trust. You know, tell them this was really nice about the person you bought me. This was something that I'm looking for. This was not there, but let me think about it. You know, don't just offhandedly say, this is why I don't, you know, listen to y'all because, you know, you bring these kind of people, you know. When you're looking at life with that kind of light, I think every area of your life becomes successful and every area of your life begins to grow. And when you are growing at multiple areas, you will automatically attract people that are like you.
Like, there's not that one right person in this world that part A is here, part B is here, and together they will make the perfect part C. But you can get married to anyone. And if you choose to constantly just stay, work on it, it will work. It is your choice to stay and not give up and work hard on it.
Yeah, somebody said, what is the secret to your marriage? I was like, just don't give up on each other. It's just as simple as that. You know, you've made mistakes. She's going to make mistakes. Just continue to forgive. I say the person who says sorry first wins. You know, so hey, just you don't have to apologize. And a lot of times you apologize only if you are wrong. That itself is a mistake. You know, don't apologize because you are wrong. Apologize because you're sorry that you're in this position. If you could have communicated, if you could have talked about it before, you would have never been in this situation. So don't focus on whose fault it is. Just focus on what you're working hard at, and focus on, you know, being honest with each other, and it'll be beautiful the next day. It'll take time sometimes, you know, but it'll work out. Yeah, sometimes people say, "Oh wow, it's so beautiful,
Yeah,
good
exactly.
relation," but it's hard work. It's messy.
It's a lot of work.
It is. It is. I would say it's the hardest job in the world, but has the greatest rewards
Come on.
in life. So it's the most rewarding,
Yeah.
and at the same time, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. I remember my mom and dad's marriage. My mom was a hippie, landed up in a college that my dad was studying in. My dad was like this very strict, rigid. Like we never had a TV in our house. We could never wear jeans and t-shirts to college. We could never wear jeans and t-shirts when we used to go to even church. No sports shoes to college, no sports shoes. So we had all of these rules, right? And so when my mom and dad got married, it was like a nuclear explosion, because you're poles apart, I think there was a time my dad, left and my mom went to be with her parents, and they were almost a year gap where, they didn't see each other. And, but they again came back. Then my mom had my sister. And I remember one day coming from school, I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I came into the room, and there was all these people who my parents worked with at the college. And they were there, and they told me and my brother and my sister that, hey, listen, your mom and dad, they are not going to be with each other anymore. They've decided to, part ways. And I was very excited, maybe because I could wear jeans and have a TV or something. I don't know. I don't know what was in my mind, but I was in my room, and that night my mom came up to me and she said, listen, we were Christians. So my mom said, I'm going to wake you up at 5:30 in the morning. I was only 8 years old. I'm going to wake you up at 5:30 in the morning, and we're going to pray, and I'm not going to break this marriage. And I remember as an 8-year-old getting up at 5:30 in the morning, going with my mom to pray, and my mom looks at me and says, now it's your turn to pray. I don't know what I said, but I know in 2 weeks' time, the whole scenario changed. My parents still struggled, but they never gave up on each other. And because of their upbringing and backgrounds, we always pull our family problems into our marriage. We always pull our issues growing up into our marriage. And so if we don't deal with that, it's going to be very, very hard. But if we address these issues, if we address our insecurities, if we address our strengths and weaknesses, the greatest strength in a marriage is to know your weakness.
That's right.
I'm weak in this. I'm very weak at washing vessels. I can cook. Like I can cook, I can put the clothes in, but I don't like to fold clothes. I don't like to wash vessels. Like I was saying, we have to work hard in everything we do.
Yeah.
And so if I know that, hey, this is where I'm lacking, my wife knows that, and she fills in for me. And so when we do things together, we can build something so strong that nobody can break. Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything that is good and beautiful has taken hard work to create and make. And so just like that, like I think when to be committed to someone, you have to put in the extra hard work. And it is hard work. It is nothing is easy that is good. And I think sometimes life today has become so simple, so easy. Press a button, you get this. I need to order something. Hey, let's Zepto it and reach my door in 6 to 8 minutes. And we're so used to getting easy results that we've forgotten how to work hard. And so our generation is getting less and less committed because we don't like to work hard. And it is work hard.
Yeah.
So get ready to work hard. But like Jeremy said, the work that you put in is hard, but the rewards and the joy and the peace that you will have is you cannot measure it.
Yeah, and always find joy in the journey, right? So there's so many things that are going well. And so when you focus on that, it's going to be amazing. And I think we need, to look at progress over perfection. So as long as I'm progressing, it's good. But if I focus on perfection, I will never be satisfied. And so always look at progress over perfection in anything you do. If we do this together, we are going to reach a place where we couldn't never have reached if we did it alone.
Yeah.
Right? And so when we decided, like, okay, we wanted to do this and we were getting into this relationship, okay, let's do it together.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah, and we spoke about things that that made us different.
Made us upset.
Made us different. You know,
And
like,
upset.
yeah, these are the things that I struggle with. Hey, these are my issues, these are my problems. And we spoke about the tough things. Hey, this is what my family is like. This is what your family is like. This is what my idea is of the next 5 years. This is so we sat down and had conversations about children, about money, about work,
Yeah.
about all these things, because we wanted to get our intentions and our understandings kind of out of the way. And I sat down and spoke to him because I had a list of 46 things that
Wow.
I wanted this person that I marry to be like.
Wow.
Right?
Talk about expectations.
Talk about expectations, right? And so, but in the end, when we sat down, had conversations, decided this is what we want to do, it was only later on that we went through the list and we're like, okay, it wasn't the list that helped me decide who I married, but it was amazing to see that when you sit down and worked out and talked about things and were willing to not give up and work through things, that hey, this list is actually someone who I finally married. I think there was like one thing on that that wasn't, I think he didn't know how to drive.
Because I never had a car.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I had a
like
bike.
I think 6 years ago he became the perfect man.
Wow.
I always say there's honor and understanding needs to be there. Like, hey, I was married, but some of my other friends were single and they want to go for a late night movie. I can't do that. Okay. They want to do certain things. I can't do that. You know. And so definitely we obviously want to be in an environment where we are growing. So we definitely hung out with, okay, these are the married couple things that we do together. We found other couples that had similar interests and hobbies, and we did life a little different than what we did when we were young, because yeah, there is more structure, there's more responsibility, there's more accountability. And so it's not that they were not my friends anymore, but they understood that, hey, my life is changed, my life is different. And so when you have good friends, they understand. And some friends, obviously, they'll stop asking after some time.
No, but it's not like you're giving up friendships.
Correct.
Or you're giving up time with your parents. But I think that's where commitment is so key. Because when you are committed to something, it sets your priorities right. Your priority becomes a priority basically to you. So, and there'll be seasons in your life where, hey, I need to give priority right now to my friendship with this person because they need me. Or I need to give priority to my parents, my mom and dad at this season in my life because they need me. And you know, and when you're committed, the person that you are with will understand that with you. You know, and instead of it being one person giving attention, or one person, it becomes a combined effort. And I feel like that is why commitment is important, because it helps you set your priorities right.
In a way, it's also important who you get married to, right?
For sure.
Because that affects everything in your life later on, right?
Yeah. And I think relationship is built on a bridge of trust. So if you don't have that bridge of trust, a relationship will not be able to move forward. So you have to build trust. So when I knew that she was in multiple relationships, and I keep pointing out, oh, this is why we have that problem, because you were there, and she can point out, oh, your parents are like this and your mother's like that, and I can say your father, like it's a never ending argument, right? But once we trust each other and know that we have the best intentions for each other, then I know, okay, she is going for a girls' night to the house. please do that, go ahead and do that. And she knows, like, hey, I love to travel, or I love to have adventures with my family. Obviously I would love to take her, but there's sometimes, oh, I'm going with this person, I want to spend time with him, he needs my time, he needs my attention. So there's trust that you build. And if there are insecurities, and if there is, what we call shak, like, oh, where is she going, what is she doing, then you're never going to, it's never going to work. I think, at least in the time we lived in, divorce was not a term that was commonly there, but people still lived like that. My parents lived very isolated, independent lives. They could have done a better job. It has always existed that, okay, I'm going to be committed to you, but I'm not going to do 100%. And that happens everywhere. Like, I can be in an organization, or I can be in a relationship with another friend and not be committed as much as I should be. And so what happens then is, we live in this world of, okay, I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do your thing. And this is my money, this is your money. And that is the whole thing, is like, we have this independent spirit, which is basically birthed out of the place of, I'm going to live myself for me. It's all about me. And so that mentality has caused more division than the word divorce. I can be in a relationship with my wife, I can be married to her, I can have 4 kids, but still live like I'm divorced. And so the reason we have that today, and we have the term, and now it's easier to just say, hey, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, because there's so many options out there. We are even counseling so many people who are going through that place. And all of that is founded in, I am not getting what I want in this relationship. And so if you are getting into a marriage saying, I'm going to get what I want, then don't get married. Because marriage is not about what you want, it's what you can build together, what you can do together.
Do you think it's better to stay in a marriage which is difficult, or?
So this is how I look at it. If the marriage is abusive, physical abuse, if there's mental torture, if there's unfaithfulness, you need to get out of that environment. Okay? But don't get out of a marriage just because it's hard. Marriage is hard work, and do it together. Like, have conversations, bring people in. Again, community, coming back to community. Be around healthy marriages. If you're around unhealthy marriages, you will become unhealthy. Be around men and women who have strong marriages. For everything out there, there is a good and bad. So how do you get a better football player is when you put them in a place where there is much better level and excellence, and you put players in another team which is very, like, they are not playing effectively. Because marriage is not about what you want, it's what you can build together, what you can do together. Eventually become, one of them. But if you put yourself in a place, in a healthy place, and always be around people who are better than you. So easy to get into a place where you say, I found this friend, he's exactly like me. We love the same things, we go out for the same, we do this, we have this, we like the same color and all of that. But you're not going to grow there. Do you have friends who are very different? Then what? Do they like things that are different? Do they do things that are different? So if you are around those kind of people, you're going to grow. But if you are always in a space you have always been, you're never going to have that growth, that you're not going to have those benefits.
Yeah, I think also introspection is so important. Like, many times marriages fail because we have problems. Like, me as an individual, I have so many insecurities, I have so many things that I just fail to understand because, say, the upbringing I have, or I've never been put in this situation. So I don't understand where you're coming from. I don't understand why you react like this, or why you do these things, like why you're not accepting of this part of my life, or, and I think so it's very important for both partners to always introspect, to always look inside and say, hey, why am I reacting like this? Like when we say like communication is so important, we communicate about things that may not even seem relevant in a situation. So if he is saying something to me, and in that moment, if it's causing me pain and hurt, I'd be like, hey, Jeremy, what you said right now, it's really hurting my feelings. Like it's really making me feel miserable. And I think that's where so many of us fail, is that we fail to communicate what we're feeling. We fail to communicate our understanding of things, and we don't look inside. We don't look at ourselves. We say, yes, there's a problem with him, or there's a problem with her, and we fail to see, hey, maybe I have a problem. Let me figure out what my problem is. Let me look at me first before I can blame someone else. And I think it's a culture that all of us have to build. It's not going to come out of thin air. It is something that has to be spoken about more, something that has to, and it's good. I think being self-aware is good for anyone at any point in their life,
And we always say, hey, what are the areas you think I need to improve in?
Yes.
Like we bounce things off. Hey, what do you think I'm lacking? Like, and when you have that, what you're telling them is, I trust you, I love you enough to expose my life to you, and tell me. And so when you build on those kind of pillars, your structure is never going to fall, right? Because there is trust, there is transparency, there is openness. There is communication, there's intimacy. So when you have all of those pillars set up, anything that you're going to put on top of it is able to carry that weight. And always bring other people into your life. One of the best excuses is, nobody loves me, nobody understands, nobody. Because there are so many nobodies in our life. But who's the somebody? Like, who's the somebody that you trust? Oh, I don't trust anybody. That's on you.
Yes.
You don't trust anybody. You know why? Because you don't trust yourself. So when you are out there, when you're honest and open of, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is my secrets, these are my temptations, these are my frustrations, so much life is going to flow into you because you're open and transparent. So don't lie to yourself and say, there's nobody for me and nobody understands me, because you've not been open to anybody. How will anybody understand you? So one other thing is, like, obviously, how can I trust them? Trust somebody. Start somewhere. Talk to your mom, talk to your dad. And because the closest people have the power to hurt you the most. The closest people in your life have the power to hurt you the most. Not that they should be hurting you. But because you're with them all the time and the interaction thing, you're obviously going to get hurt. 100%. I'm going to hurt my wife thousands of times to come, Because what happens is, when you are frustrated, when you are angry, when you're upset, we tend to lash it out on the people that we take for granted. She has to be with me, na. She's married to me, na. So she has to stay with me. So might as well lash out on her. If I lash out on my boss, I'll get kicked out of the job. So, I can't lash out over there, so I'll lash out at home. So, try and bring somebody in, try and bring a friend in. Try and bring someone you
I think
trust.
that's important also, because many times we isolate ourselves thinking, hey, I'm this bad person, I do all these bad things, and I have all these like things that are wrong with me. But many times when you actually sit down and talk to someone, you find out, hey, I'm not the only one.
Correct, yeah.
Most people be like, hey, I went through the same thing.
Something
I
similar,
struggled
yeah.
with the same thing. And that's why it's so important to have people around you, because you realize that, hey, I'm not the only one struggling. Like, we can do this together, get out of this.
There is this quote by somebody. It says, I am not afraid of failure. I'm afraid of succeeding at things that don't matter.
How do I find a partner who is equally compromising their own wants and desires to make me happy?
So I'm so sorry to disappoint you. but it's about us. It's like, hey, how can we serve each other? Like, how can we do this together? There are times where I know Ruth is tired. Okay. So, what can I do to make life easier for her? And I'm always wanting, that should be my attitude, is like, how can I make life easier for others? And we live in the world where people are making life difficult for us. So, we all have experience of how people made life difficult for us,
Yeah.
but we do the same to others. You know, so hey, how can I make life easy
Easy.
for my wife? Hey, will washing the dishes one day
Help her.
help? Will cooking help? Will, like I said, na, let your I cans be more than your I can'ts in a marriage. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't. So if you have more I can'ts, then your your marriage is going to be more difficult. But if you have more I cans, your marriage is going to be more fulfilling and more whole. Because there are times where you have to step in. There's nobody can say I put 100% in my marriage. Because there's always somebody balancing that weight out.
Yeah.
You know, there's always somebody where I am lacking, my wife steps up. Where my wife lacks, I step up. And we do this together.
Yeah.
We don't do this in isolation. So, you know, don't look, like I said, don't look for the perfect person, because that person
not going to
doesn't
find.
exist. Look for a person that is constantly progressing, like that has vision. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people that have plans.
Yeah.
You know, what's the plan? They have a lot of plans, but they don't have vision.
Yeah.
You know, and vision is very important for anything to move forward.
I don't even think I would use the word like compromise, because it's not a compromise. It is a compromise is doing something you don't like, you know. But I think it's working together as a team. It's impossible for one person to do everything, right? And then also be there for you, you know. And so I think it's beautiful when you do things together. Like Jeremy said earlier, one can go fast, but two can go far. And I think going far is more important than getting things done fast. You know, it's beautiful because Jeremy is someone who always has vision, and I'm someone who loves to plan.
Yeah.
And so together we can go far. A vision cannot be fulfilled without a plan, right? And so that is why it's so important for us to work together, and it takes you further, but it also puts you in a place where you're not being selfish.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're with someone to be together. It's not about you.
Yeah.
You know, in our house we have 3 rules: love one another, no whining, and never give up, right? And I think that first rule that we have covers everything, right? Love one another. When I love someone, I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that they are comfortable, that they have everything they need, that they are growing, that they are, you know, just being the best they can. And I think that's what love is. And I think that's what a marriage is. It's not compromise, because if you're compromising, you're not in a loving relationship.
So I think we live in a world where everything is visual, right? So, and content, like we are bombarded with content, and there's this whole tension of the forbidden is more attractive. Like, if you do this, like, that is your parents are not allowing you to do. It's more exciting, right? And we are going through it even with our kids, you know. And you are always going to, for the rest of your life, for me and her, there's always going to be temptation. Temptation is not going to go away. Even in your organization that you're with, or in any commitment, there is always some offer that is better.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are communities that they know that isko hire karega, so he will go, and if he gets 10 rupees more there, he will leave this job and go there. You know? So you are going to be tempted for the rest of your life till you die.
Yeah.
Only when you are dead, temptation stops. Okay. So if you're moving from one marriage to the other marriage to the other marriage to the other relationship and to the other relationship, all you're doing to yourself is taking, basically shredding parts of you and just giving it away and giving it away and giving it away, instead of giving it to one person and they give it to you and you build something beautiful together. And so we are in a world today that everything is visual. Whether it's the series you watch on Netflix and it's the things that we do, what you tolerate in your life is what's going to dominate your life. And if you are going to put inside of you stories of success, stories of marriage that is working, stories of people committed, like, just today I was reading an article of Pierce Brosnan, who's 007, and the James Bond movies are the ones that this guy's sleeping with multiple women. Okay, but you see Pierce Brosnan's life, you see that he was committed to one woman. His first wife died and he was committed to this lady. They are like now 21 years in their marriage. And he says, and actually, everybody's very shocked, like how Pierce Brosnan is like this fit and fine guy, and how his wife has changed over time and she looks so old and he's looking so attractive and so young. But what he said was so powerful. He said, all you need is love in your heart for each other.
Yeah.
So this guy who's like this sex icon, out there, in his real life, he's like, all I need is love in my heart
Yeah.
for my wife. And so I found that so beautiful, which is very rare today.
Yeah.
That somebody was that person is saying that this is what you need to build something beautiful.
I think the world and entertainment nowadays wants you to be in a place where you're driven by lust and sex. Okay, and then you will go after it and you will find it and you will do it, and then what? Then you have to come back to real life. And you cannot continue to live in a cycle that is non-productive. If you continue to live in a cycle that is only running after that which looks good, or that which is based on things that have no root, no foundation, you will keep falling. And you will have to continue to always start again and build again. And basically, you're going nowhere. You're always at a starting point. And yes, even though it looks nice and it feels good and it puts you like in a place where you always want that, at one point it's going to be not enough. And then you're going to want more. And then you're going to want more. And you're going to come to a place where nothing's going to satisfy you. And that's a sad place to be in. And I think it's good for us to think of it in a way where we realize that when we are in a place where we can lay foundation and go down deep, that we will build something that is strong and lasting. And so that's just our perspective on that. Yeah.
How do you keep that love, that fire awake all the time?
I think, like, for me, love is obviously a choice. It's not a feeling. Unfortunately, the world has made it look like that. The world that we live in. When we watch a movie, we feel that, but we look at the actors and their lives, and that, so we are not living in an imaginary world.
Right.
We are living in a real world. But that doesn't mean we don't have fun.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun. We laugh a lot. We cry a lot. We fight a lot. But we also know that we are establishing a lot for the generations to come. Our 4 kids are going to do great things. Why? Because they have a loving father, a father who's never going to give up. They have a loving mother who's always going to be there for them. And like tips and tricks is, I would say one thing. Say many things. One is communicate, over communicate. Okay, communicate what you're feeling, communicate what you're thinking. I don't want to be in a place where I'm saying my wife doesn't understand me. She will never understand. And that's where lies begin to set into your mind. Is like, you isolate yourself in your mind, not in your body. Like in the body, I'm here next to her, sleeping next to her, maybe even holding her hand.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, she'll never understand me. Okay, so that is one thing. Always communicate. Second, obviously, is hey, do not give up. Do not give up. It's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult. Don't give up. Thirdly, be nice to each other. Like, just be nice, be loving, do loving things, say loving things. Um, Take her out, travel together, do things together. We do a lot of things together. Like, we make a lot of all our decisions we do together. We don't have my money, your money. We don't have the concept of, okay, I'm going on this thing and you go and do your thing. We do things together. We do things with our children. And so I think being in that sense of community is always going to add so much value. Yeah.
As you're talking also, I'm like, yeah, our three family rules kind of also imply, like love one another. That means putting the other person first before you. Don't give up, because if you give up, then there's no point to it. You might as well just walk away right now. And don't whine, because it's annoying. Like, don't complain. It's my one of my children, he's a whiner. Like, if whenever, like, he can't even talk straight, he just whines, and it is annoying. Like, both of us in a relationship, everybody is putting in everything they can. Instead of noticing things they're not doing, begin to notice things that they are doing. Hey, you picked up your towel today, yay! Or whatever. I mean, I'm just talking about something small thing, but notice the things that they are doing, that is making it easier. Spend time together, talk about difficult things, like
Do difficult things.
Go on adventures together. Talk about family. That's so important. I feel like nobody values family anymore, and it's so important to build healthy, strong families nowadays. And I think putting the other person first is so important. So yeah.
Yeah, I think also making a better excuse than another person can make for themselves.
It's true.
When suppose there is a time where there are things that she's not able to do, make a better excuse that she can make for herself.
Yes.
So I make a better excuse than she could give me. To say, okay, maybe this happened to Ruth and this happened, that's why she wasn't able to do this.
Make excuses for each other. It saves
So
you
much of
so much
time.
heartache. It'll save your marriage also.
Yeah, so
Make
I'm always
excuses.
trying to be in a place of understanding. I don't listen to hear, I listen to understand. So, when you talk to people, they are hearing you, they're not listening to you. Correct? It's a big hearing and listening is totally different.
Thing, yeah.
I might hear you, but never listen to you. So I want to listen to understand. I don't want to listen for information. I want to listen to understand, okay, why, what happened, and how did this happen? So, in a relationship, try and give, better excuses. You're going to have another thing, you have to be real. Be real. We are not in a Bollywood movie. We are not in a Hollywood movie. We are in life. So there are times where you are going to be disappointed. There are times where you're going to be frustrated. There are times where you will expect and things won't happen and go the way you do it. But I know that if we stick together, like anything that sticks together will eventually become beautiful, wonderful, and great. And find joy in the journey. There's so many things that we can be thankful for. There's so many things. When I look at my kids' faces, when I look at people who even stay with us, when I look at the life and where we are, there's so many things I can complain about.
Yeah.
And I can say I have a right to complain about, but I want to focus on what things are going for me. I have a beautiful home, I have a beautiful family, and I will never let the world pressurize me into doing things and being somebody I'm not. Reach out to Crosswave, if you're struggling with marriage, relationships, career. Just sometimes you feel alone. And we all feel like that. We all feel, sometimes you can be in the room with so many people but feel alone. You know, reach out to Crosswave.
Yeah.
Because in the Crosswave community, there is people who love, people who want the best for you,
Yeah.
and are waiting to help you and give direction.
Yeah.
So don't ever feel you're alone. There is a community here at Crosswave that is waiting to help you.